Hello again. In Britain, murder has always traditionally been something performed indoors and usually conducted between family and friends. The murder of strangers, although not wholly unknown, has always been very rare. This has meant that the weapons used to commit murder have usually been those laying around the house. At one time, men shaved with open razors, not for nothing, known more generally as cutthroat razors. 100 years ago, a third of all murders in this country were committed with those razors. Pokers, which used to lay near the fireside in every home, were another popular weapon of the type, which could be snatched up in a fury and then used to deal a fatal blow to the head. As I say, attacker and victim were almost always known to each other. Husband and wife, father and child, brother and sister, close friends, with the crimes taking place indoors. The cutthroat razor and poker have gone out of fashion these days. Around 40% of murders now are committed by stabbing with sharp implements, and the location of such events is now more often than not in streets and parks rather than indoors. Victims and attackers are also increasingly not related to each other, and in many cases they are complete strangers. There is a random element about many murders in Britain today. 50 years ago, crimes like this were vanishingly rare. Now we don't bat an eyelid when they are reported. Almost every day we hear that somebody has been stabbed in the street, and when details emerge, it appears that the motive for the crime was some trifling incident, such as one person belonging to a different gang from another or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. A typical example of this modern trend was seen in Uxbridge in West London on Monday evening. An Afghan asylum seeker who has only been in the country for a few years went on a stabbing spree for no apparent reason, cutting the throat of one middle-aged man who was walking his dog, killing him, badly wounding another man, and then stabbing a 14-year-old boy as well. The stabbing spree is, of course, a very popular type of crime lately, when some individual, either a Muslim or a man of black African heritage, simply charges around the street, lashing out with a knife at anybody he comes across. There were outdoor stabbings in the past, of course, but they were phenomenally rare. For example, I attended secondary school in Ilford many years ago, and the murder of Edith Thompson's husband, which took place in the 1920s, was still remembered locally. He was stabbed to death in the street up by Cranbrook Road, and school children still pointed out the site to each other in the 1950s. So strange was the idea of a murder like that which took place in the open air. In those days, any kind of murder was a rarity, of course, partly because murderers were still being hanged. I wonder if any viewers can remember a stabbing spree of random victims which took place before, say, 20 years ago. I wonder how many of you can remember when any murder in a public place was a rarity. I'm sure that we all know that such crimes are now so common that news of them seems to blur together. Stabbings in the street are simply not unusual these days. This is a purely cultural thing. This is a result of people moving into this country from other countries where violence in the streets was not particularly uncommon. It's not, in my mind, been a particularly desirable development.